Hey guys, welcome to the Star Wars Archives, where you will well and truly find the archives are complete. Today I'm going to be doing a tier list, ranking my top 8 favorite Star Wars characters of all time, and my top 8 worst. This video was requested by Jake, thank you for your request. Before we jump in, I just want to let everybody know that it is actually Geonosian Language Week, just in case you didn't know. Get out there, speak Geonosian with your family and friends, and raise awareness for this language which is sadly going extinct within our world. I say we jump right in to this video now. Okay, so start off with go from the 8th worst down to the number 1 worst, my all-time worst character. Okay, so in at number 8 worst, so week is going to represent my worst character list. We have Rose Tico from the sequels. She was just, for me, she just did not feel Star Wars at all, and it felt like there was so much focus on her love story or on her just feeling sad all the time, not feeling good enough. She just always seemed to pity herself, and there wasn't kind of Victoria, this victory that she kind of had an attitude of defeatism for me, and she just sapped away that that Star Wars feeling. It felt like she'd been plucked from a sitcom or some other kind of romance movie, and it was just not Star Wars at all. She was not a very creative or memorable character for me. The next character, ranking it the 7th worst for me, is Jocasta Nu from the prequels, which is a shock because I generally love all the characters from the prequels, but Jocasta Nu was just straight up rude. She was narcissistic, and there wasn't one moment where she was nice to anybody, and that was exhibited when she was helping Obi-Wan navigate the archives. And if you go watch that footage, you'll see just how rude she was. And she looked down upon Obi-Wan, and she thought she was right in everything that she did. So she just really gave off this very negative vibe and very narcissistic. Kind of the type of character I would expect to have been created from the sequels, to be honest. The number 7th worst for me. Sorry, I mean number 6 worst is Omega from the Clone Wars. Now, I actually haven't watched all of the Clone Wars. I've only seen one episode, but that one episode that I saw was enough to give me an evaluation that Omega is well and truly one of the worst characters in all of Star Wars for me. She is just very uncreative. It just feels like just another boring human character. She's whiny. She always gets herself into trouble, and I just think that Disney or whoever directed the Clone Wars could have done something so much better, so much more creative, so much more gripping, such a way cooler character than her. Not to mention her voice acting gets pretty. It's much to be desired. Not much to be desired. So yeah. The next one for me is Cara Dune. Now, I did like the Mandalorian series, but in terms of being one of the worst characters in all of Star Wars, she would definitely have to be one. Just based off, yet again, the lack of creativity. She's just another human character, another main human character who is very arrogant and kind of egotistical. There were some moments when she did shine through for me, but generally, overall, I would have to put her as one of my least favorite. Yeah, just something about her. The next is Rey. Rey, of course, is got to be one of the worst for me because of the fact that she is just so powerful without having trained much or done anything to earn that power. She was just given all of that power basically it just felt because she was a woman, and Disney were just trying to showcase and champion this overly powerful female character who could do anything that she wanted or put her mind to. And that is just not the kind of character development we want to see in a main character. We want to see somebody that struggles, that earns the right to their power. And she was just a Mary Sue for me. So definitely one of my least favorite of all time. I think there was potential with her character, but for me she is a blotch on the sequels, and she got in the way of making the sequels potentially good. So yeah. The next one is L337 Droid, second worst in all of Star Wars. L337 made me physically angry. I felt my blood boiling when I watched it. And I also laughed as well because of the utter ridiculousness of that character. Just as having this woke female droid that was trying to liberate other droids, and this was somehow representative of the social justice warriors in our world. And why does that need to be in Star Wars? I mean, this is Star Wars. This is a galaxy far, far away. This isn't our world. We watch Star Wars to get away from our world and to be immersed in other imaginative creator sphere that doesn't exist. Of course, it's acknowledged Star Wars does not exist at the end of the day. Although we would like to think it does not exist. But we watch Star Wars to get away from the politics of our world and to immerse ourselves in the politics of the Star Wars universe. And having L337 in Star Wars just felt like I was watching my world and the politics burn around me, and the division in our society and the wokeness in our society. So for me, that that droid embodied everything that I would just not want to see in Star Wars. Okay, and that yeah. Okay, so I have to definitely say one of the worst. And of course, my number one worst character or Star Wars is Admiral Holdo, based on the fact that she was just once again, like Jocasta Nu in particular, just so rude to her counterparts, her male counterparts in particular. She just was trying to steamroll this irrelevant feminist revolution with an actual much larger, more important revolution to destroy the empire, and just her arrogance was very I know she's not a Jedi, but very unrebel-like. There's just bringing in this kind of self-consumed, narcissistic leadership form. I'm going to do what I want because nobody else is as good as me, and nobody can tell me what to do. And she just put a bad taste in my mouth. So yeah, that's my top 8 worst characters of all time. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I've only got 7, so I actually have time to add one more into that list of the worst. Oh, actually, yes. Sorry. Um, I've jumped the boat here. I'm going to put into my top 8 worst. I'm going to put Owen Lars in there. I'm going to put him at number 8 there. And he's from the prequels. And the reason why Owen Lars is in there as one of my worst characters of all time was just that kind of that he put a bad taste in my mouth when Anakin arrived. I think it was in episode 2, and he was there, and when Anakin asked what happened to Shmi, he was just very kind of he didn't seem to be convicted, or I didn't sense emotion for him that he was actually concerned for Shmi. It just felt like Shmi was just another person that he brought to be his wife. And I kind of felt suspicious almost, like, did he give Shmi to the Tusken Raiders? Is he complicit in Shmi having been taken hostage? That was the vibe I got when I watched it, even though that is not rooted in the lore. I just felt that, and he put a bad feeling into me, and I just don't trust him. So yeah, definitely in that list. Now, for my favorite characters of all time, And I'm putting them in the Grandmaster tier here. And we're going to start off with number 8 for me. And that is, here, that is Sussy Tin. I love the creativity of Sussy Tin. I just think he's an all-around really cool character. He's a Grandmaster. He led so many battles and revolutions. We're from the Clone Wars, and, prior to that, he's just one of those classic, awesome, unique species Jedi that you just love seeing in the Council Chamber. You just love seeing this depth added to the species within the Star Wars world and within the Council Chamber and the Jedi. Love Sussy Tin. He's very cool. Although he did have an opportunity to kill Darth Sidious when they came to arrest him, but I will overlook that. The next one for me is General Grievous in my top 8. General Grievous is just he's everything you want in a villain. He's everything that you want in a bad guy. He's so unique. That kind of cyborg. He had that pure rage, and he was just such a cool character that he was someone I really wanted as a figure. I wanted him as a toy. I love the forearms. I love the spinning. He just made the sequels really what it is, and he's also a bit of a meme lord as well. He's become so popular in popular culture. But yeah, I really like General Grievous. The next for me is Yoda, of course. You can't look past Yoda. Yoda is amazing. He's a very unique, creative character. He is the leader of the Jar. He embodies everything good in the galaxy. Yes, there are some implicit failures. There are many things that he did not do right, but he he embodies Star Wars. At the heart of Star Wars is Yoda, and he strove to make the galaxy a better place. And he's pretty cute as well. He's a pretty cool species. And a great fighter, too. The next for me is Kit Fisto. There's just something about that era of unique species Jedi that made Star Wars for us as kids so captivating and so interesting. He looks amazing. I feel like most of my friends, um, for them, Kit Fisto was their favorite character. He's just so cool. He just looks so cool, and he plays such a crucial role in many aspects of the development of the Jedi and the various wars. So he is definitely in my top 8 favorite favorite characters of all time. The next for me is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, Obi-Wan is just one of the greatest. He withstood the storms. He withstood the good and the bad. So much happened to him. He could have easily just given up. He had Anakin turn on him. He witnessed the fall of the Jedi. He really showed so much resilience all throughout every episode of Star Wars that he was in. He's a classy character. He has so many great one-liners. He is just, he's so positive. He just gives off such a great positivity. I don't know if that's down to Ewan McGregor's acting, but Obi-Wan is just an essential to Star Wars and definitely one of my favorite of all times. The next for me is Plo Koon. He's definitely up the ranks. He's number 3 for me. Um, he just adds that depth and layer to Star Wars and unique characters. He looks so unique. Whoever designed or drew him, who concept designed, did a really fantastic job because how do you come up with such a unique looking species? Um, and yeah, he is also one of the most powerful Jedi. We all know that Plo Koon could use Force Lightning, which many actually couldn't. And yeah, for me, Plo Koon was just somebody I always marveled upon in the council chamber as a kid when I saw him there. Just this really awesome character that I love to see in every scene. Well, in the scenes that he was in. Next, number 2 for me is Mace Windu. Mace Windu he's just the embodiment of strength for me. He just withstood. Maybe also because my first ever lightsaber, retractable lightsaber, was Mace Windu's the purple lightsaber. And that was just a huge part of my childhood. Also, Mace Windu He had so much wisdom, and I feel like he was somebody that did strive to make the Jedi better and to always push them and to always seek to get to the bottom of actually what is taking place. What is this Dark Lord that they are sensing? What is this bad aspect of the Force that is making their vision be clouded? And he was the one that confronted Palpatine and actually defeated him. If it wasn't for Anakin, Mace Windu would have bet Palpatine. So for me, I really enjoyed Mace Windu. He was just a really cool character. He was strong, and he just created so much depth and layer to the Jedi Order. And for me, my number one favorite Star Wars character of all time, it's a bit of a strange one. It's someone that you probably wouldn't expect from me or any Star Wars fan. But for me, it is Ki-Adi-Mundi. I don't know why, but as a kid, as soon as I saw Ki-Adi-Mundi, I don't know, there was just something about him. I just really enjoyed his wisdom. He was a man of few words, but when he spoke, it was always something meaningful. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? He's a political idealist, not a murderer. He always had these kind of classy, very significant statements that actually were quite compelling. Also, I just love the species. I just love. I don't know what it was. He was my favorite, and he was the character I always wanted to get as a toy, and eventually I did manage to find him at the shops and got him. But now I've lost him, and I don't know where he is. He's probably chucked out. But yeah, so for me, Ki-Adi-Mundi is my favorite Star Wars character of all time. He's so memorable to me. And yeah, that's my top 8 favorite Star Wars characters of all time and my top 8 worst Star Wars characters of all time. Hey, why don't you guys let me know in the comment section below? Who are your favorite Star Wars characters of all time? Let me know if you agree or disagree with my choices. And feel free to recommend any other video ideas. This is something a little bit new for me. I haven't done one of these tier list videos before. And yeah, um, once again, welcome to the Star Wars Archives, where you will well and truly find the archives are complete. And remember, be happy.